Hi everyone, welcome to Brilliant Kuwait. Today we will discuss a chapter, Neural Control and Coordination from Class 11. In this chapter, we are discussing about nervous system or neural system. Neural system is classified into two, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord. Remember that brain and spinal cord together known as central nervous system. While the nerves associated with the central nervous system is known as peripheral nervous system. And basically central nervous system and peripheral nervous system all are made up of neurons. So neurons are one of the important topic in this chapter. So let us discuss about neurons. Neuron, otherwise known as nerve cell. This neuron is entirely different from a normal cell because neurons are specialized for nervous system and these are elongated cells, and once the neurons are damaged, we cannot be replaced. So a particular neuron has three parts. The first one is called cell body, cytone. One more name is there, soma. Remember that neuron is the structural and functional unit of nervous system. It has three main parts. First part is called cell body, otherwise known as cytone, otherwise known as soma. And the second portion is known as dendrons, and the third part is known as axon. So let us discuss about the neuron. So this is the entire picture of the neuron. And first, I already explained that there are three parts consist of, that means there are three parts there in the neuron. The first is called as cell body. So this is the cell body. Here cytoplasm is there and one nucleus is also there. This blue one is nucleus and this is called as cytoplasm. Here clearly you can see that some granules present in the cytoplasm. That granules are called as Nissls granules. This is the specialized feature of neurons, Nissls granules. Usually in other cells also granules are present. That granules are made up of proteins. But these Nissls granules are made up of, Nissls granules are made up of rough endoplasmic reticulum. It is not mentioned in the NCERT, but it is an additional notification, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum is the resource of, that is what is called Nissls granules. So this is only there in the cell body. Cytoplasm, Nissls granules and nucleus, and this is called as cell body or cytone. So cell body is over. Hope it is clear. Cell body consists of Nissls granules and nucleus. And the second part of the neuron is called as dendron. See, these are dendrons. And this is the shortest projection, short fibers that project out from the cell body. Short fibers that projects out from cell body, that is called as dendron. See, the dendrons are branched and the branches of dendrons are called as dendrites. These are the shortest projections are called as dendron and its branches are called as dendrites. Then what is the duty of these dendrites? They transmit impulses towards the cell body. So from outside all the impulses these dendrites are transmitting towards inside the cell body. And the third part of the neuron is called as axon. Axons are otherwise known as nerve fibers. See, while compared to dendron, axon is the longest one. A long fiber which transmit impulses away from the cell body is called as axon. See, these are called as axon, which carries impulses away from the cell body. And similar to that of dendrons, these axons are also, or axon is also branched. The branches of the axon, see, this is the branches of the axon is known as axonite. These are called as axonite. Each axonite ends a bulb-like structure called a synaptic knob. See here. See, this is the axon, and axons are branched, and the branches of the axon is known as axonite, and each axonite, at the end of the axonite, a bulb-like projection that is called as synaptic knob. Hope you remember about the three parts of the neuron. First part is known as cell body, second part is known as dendrons, and third part is known as axon. So while discussing with this axon, see here there is a covering protective layer. These are called as myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. You can clearly see that these are called as myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. Myelin sheath, actually it's an insulator, like our wires are covered by insulators. And this myelin sheath may present or may not be. It depends. So myelinated neurons also there, non-myelinated neurons also there. Myelinated neurons are appears to be white in color. So myelinated neurons are called as white matter. But in the absence of myelin sheath, it seems to be gray color. So gray colored or non-myelinated neurons are called as gray matter. And see again these black regions in the picture, that is a special type of cells. That cells are called as Schwann cells. These Schwann cells are responsible for the synthesizing of myelin sheath. And again, the myelin sheaths are not in continuous. See, it is not in continuous. At a frequent interval, these myelin sheaths are breaking. See, these are the, it's not continuous. Here we can see the myelin sheaths are breaking. That breaking portion that are called as nodes. Actually, the nodes are discovered by one scientist called Ranvier. That is why it is called as node of Ranvier. So clear, hope it is clear. Axon. Axons are the longest projection that carries impulses from the cell body. The end portion of the axons are branched. The branched portions are called axonite. And each axonite, end portion of the axonite quite bulged. The bulged portion is known as synaptic knob. And then some of the neurons are covered with the myelin sheath and some are not present the myelin sheath. The types of neuron. Based on the structure, neurons are classified into three. Based on the structure, neurons are classified into three. That means there are three types of neuron. First type of neuron are called as multipolar neuron. Second type of neurons are known as bipolar neuron. And third type of neuron are called as unipolar neuron. So let us discuss the first type, that is called as multipolar neuron. Multipolar. You know that what is pole? Pole, south pole and north pole. So here, multipolar neurons means one axon and two or more dendrons. See, one axon with two or more dendrons. This is axon and this is dendrons. So if a neuron having one axon with two or more dendrons, those type of neurons are called as multipolar neuron. And the location of multipolar neuron. The multipolar neurons are usually seen in the cerebral cortex. That means our cerebral cortex is entirely made up of multipolar neuron. And the second type of neuron, that is known as bipolar neuron. Bi means two. You know that bi means two. Bipolar, only two poles. That means one axon and one dendron. One axon and one dendron. If a neuron having one axon and one neuron, those type of neurons are known as bipolar neuron. Usually these bipolar neurons are seen in the retina of the eye. And the third category, unipolar. Uni means single. Unipolar neurons, in unipolar neurons, there won't be any dendrons. That means one axon only. That means absence of dendrons. If axons without dendrons, that are known as unipolar neuron. These unipolar neurons usually seen in the embryonic stage. So once again I'll explain. Neurons are classified into three: multipolar neuron, bipolar neuron, unipolar neuron. Multipolar neuron means one axon with more dendron. It is located in the cerebral cortex. Bipolar neurons having one axon and one dendron, it is located in the retina of the eye. And the third category, unipolar neuron, that means only one axon only, there is no dendrons or dendrites. Those types are present in the embryonic stage. Now let us study about the types of axon. I already explained that there are two types of axon. So I mentioned earlierly, there are two types of axon: myelinated axon and non-myelinated axon. Hope you remember what is axon. The longest part of the neuron is called as axon. So there are two types of axon, that is called as myelinated axon and non-myelinated axon. So there are two types of neurons: myelinated neuron and non-myelinated neuron. That means myelinated axon or non-myelinated axon. See, now we are discussing about myelinated axon. What is myelin? Myelin is a protective covering. It is an envelope with Schwann cells which form a myelin sheet around the axon. Some of the axons are covered with a protective layer that is called as myelin sheet. And besides the myelin sheet, we can see a special type of cell. That cells are called as Schwann cells. Usually where the myelinated axons are present, found in the spinal and cranial nerves. Spinal and cranial nerves. So what is meant by spinal nerves and cranial nerves? The nerves present in the spinal cord is known as spinal nerves. The nerves present in the brain is known as cranial nerves. And the spinal nerves and cranial nerves together known as peripheral nervous system. And one more thing, remember that there are 31 pairs of spinal nerve and 12 pairs of cranial nerves. So we are discussing about myelinated axon. If the myelin is present or the axon is myelinated, I already mentioned that those type of, that means myelinated axons are appear to be white in color. So that is why these are called as white matter. And again, once again I am saying that these myelin sheets or myelin sheets are not continuous. There is a gap between two adjacent myelin sheet that are called as node of Ranvier. See, this portion that is called as node of Ranvier because these nodes are discovered by a scientist called as Ranvier. Type of axon that is called as non-myelinated axon. That means axon without myelin sheet. See, this is the picture of non-myelinated axon. Here clearly you can see that there is no myelin sheet. But one thing, in both the non-myelinated and myelinated axon, Schwann cells present but no myelin sheet. Schwann cells will be there in the myelinated and non-myelinated axons, but there won't be myelin sheet in the non-myelinated axons. In the absence of myelin sheet, the neuron appears to be grey color. That is why it is known as grey matter. And especially these type of neurons or these type of axons, that means non-myelinated axons present in the autonomous and somatic neural system. Hope it is clear about neurons. Once again, I will summarize what we learned. Neurons are the structural and functional unit of nervous system, and a typical neuron consists of axon, dendron and cell body. And cell body consists of nucleus and Nissel's granules. Shortest projection arising from the cell body is known as dendrons. Its branches are called as dendrites. And the longest projection is known as axon. Its branches are called as axonite. And end portion of the axonite are quite bulged. That is known as synaptic knob. And there are two types of axon, myelinated axon and non-myelinated axon. Hope it is clear about neurons. And the remaining of this chapter we will discuss in another episode.